दोस्तों, welcome back to the new sub-series of Seekho Punjab. Myself, Dr. Mohit Kumar Garg, an IPS officer. This sub-series is all about the economic survey of Punjab 2017 and 18. This is the latest economic survey. And with this lecture, we are going to start our discussion on the agriculture of Punjab as per the economic survey of Punjab 2017-18. Let us go to the first slide. And in this slide, we are going to discuss about the topics to be covered. In this lecture, we have divided this lecture into two major parts in which we will be discussing the agriculture proper and the allied sectors. In the agriculture proper, we will be discussing about the crops, the facts about the crops, irrigation, consumption of fertilizers, and why the growth rate has remained low. And then we will come to the allied sectors in which we are going to discuss horticulture, animal husbandry, dairy, and fisheries. Then we will discuss about the different state government initiatives for the welfare of farmers. In this segment, we are not going to discuss the recent debt relief scheme which has been introduced. We are planning to take this in a different separate lecture. And lastly, we will come to the different concerns which remain for the agriculture sector. Now coming to the next slide. Now let us start with the agriculture proper. We all know that Punjab is a granary for whole of India. This is because we supply maximum wheat and rice to the central pool. But the fact remains that Punjab's economy is in a state of flux. We are transforming structurally our economy, and we are moving towards industry and other segments of economy. But the fact also remains that agriculture still plays an important role. Let's see what are the facts which explain the importance of the agriculture for the Punjab. You may see that still, as per the 2011 census, 36% of the workers get their employment through agriculture. If we try to look the different crops, then we can divide these crops into two. One, the first is Rabi or the spring harvest, and the second is Kharif or autumn harvest. Rabi consists of wheat, gram, barley, potatoes, and winter vegetables. Normally, if we remember, then we reap the wheat crop with Vishakhi. That falls on 13th of April. So when I started my preparation, then I used to forget that used to confuse between Rabi and Kharif. Rabi, the simple mnemonic, how you can remember Rabi crops. Like in winter, because of too much cold, we normally remember God, and in Punjabi we can say apar rab rab karde rehne hain. So in that manner you can remember Rabi crop, which culminate with the culmination of winter. So on 13th April, we cut our wheat crop. So these are Rabi crops. Now coming to Kharif. The Kharif or the autumn harvest consists of rice, maize, sugarcane, cotton and pulses. So these are the crops which will be sown afterwards and will be cut before the Rabi crop. Agriculture of Punjab is known for using the high yield varieties, and because of these high yield varieties, we are able to get maximum of the crop while using the same area. Some of the facts which make us feel proud, we can look at those facts. Punjab, 10% of country's rice is being produced by Punjab. And in the world also, we are the second only to Thailand in the rice surplus. Milk, 10% of country's milk. Honey, again 20% of country's honey is from Punjab. Wheat, 20%, again it's approximately 20%, otherwise it was 19%. So to remember, we have put it here as 20%. Cotton, 5% of countries. And for wheat, we are the 7th in number as gross producer of wheat in the world. Again, a proud fact for all of us. Also, we noted that Punjab is lacking behind in the production of vegetables and fruits. Potato is the major vegetable and quinoa is the major fruit which is being produced in Punjab. Now coming to the next slide. Further, the contribution of the agriculture in the GSVA, the gross state value addition, is one of the largest. It is, if we just consider the agriculture separately, then it is around 16%. And if we combine agriculture and allied sectors, then it will come to around 26%. So agriculture, if we just look at the separate sectors, then the agriculture is the largest contributor. How it comes? You just remove the other services, you will find that agriculture standalone is contributing the largest. But if we just want to discuss about the primary, secondary, and tertiary things, or agriculture and light combinedly, then it will not be such. You will find in the next slide that the transformation is happening in the economy and the services sector has become the largest contributor. But before moving to the next slide, we must understand what is GSVA, gross state value addition. Actually, GSVA is the contribution of all the sectors of the Punjab economy. We can understand GSVA in comparison to the GDP at factor cost. Actually, GDP at factor cost includes all the values of all the factors of the economy in the state of Punjab. It also includes subsidies and indirect or direct taxes. But GVA, on the other hand, doesn't include subsidies and taxes. So we can say that GVA or GSVA is equal to GDP at factor cost plus subsidies minus taxes. Why this GSVA is important? Because GSVA is actually an indicator which represents the ground level activities in a good manner. Also, if we want to discuss about a particular sector of the economy like agriculture or a particular region of the economy like Punjab in India, then GSVA or GVA is an important indicator in comparison to the GDPA. Now moving to the next slide. This slide represents the transformation which is happening in the economy of Punjab. Now, earlier, the agriculture and allied sector, the contribution in GSVA was 30.80% in 2011-12, which has come down to 25.57%, approximately 26% in 2017 and 18. So you can see that this is primary sector related to the agriculture, secondary and tertiary. The importance of tertiary has gone up, and at the same time the importance of the contribution of primary sector has actually gone down. This is representing the transformation. This is representing the transformation which is happening in the economy of Punjab. Now coming to the next slide, the gross capital formation. So before we discuss the GCF in agriculture in Punjab, we must know what is GCF. Gross capital formation is the statistics which represents the percentage of GDP which has been invested. If we want to talk about the GCF in agriculture, then that will represent that percentage of GDP of the state of Punjab which has been invested in the sector of agriculture. The positive, why we want to discuss this GCF? Why this is an important indicator? Because this is that percentage of our economy which is actually being utilized in furthering or further boosting the economy or that particular sector. Like in this case is this agriculture sector. So if we invest more in that, then the chances are that that agriculture will further proliferate. And in in Punjab, the positive point is that in the number form, in the rupee terms, and in the number form, it has increased. Like in 2011-12, uh, it was around this much, and it has increased to this much in 2015-16, and it has shown an increase. But the negative point, the worry is that in the percentage form, it has remained stagnant at around 4%. So we need to improve upon that so that we can actually improve the agriculture sector of Punjab. Now coming to the next slide. In this slide, we will be discussing about the gross cropped area, the various productions with regard to different crops. So let's start with the gross cropped area. 83% of the gross cropped area is under two crops, namely wheat and paddy in 2017 and 18. 83% wheat and paddy. So before we further discuss, let us discuss what exactly is the gross cropped area. And the similar concept is net sown area. How these two concepts are different. So basically, gross cropped area includes all the areas if under the under the under the agriculture. If the area is sown once, then the area will be included once, and if the area is sown twice, then under gross cropped area, that area will be included twice. But in net sown area, the area only is included once. So gross cropped area will always be greater or equal to net sown area, because we are growing in Punjab at least twice, so gross crop area is more than 100%. So 83% of the total gross cropped area is under wheat and paddy. Right? So now moving to the next concept. If you want to discuss about the total area under the different crops, then we can discuss in the form of this table. In 2017 and 18, we are expecting, these are the estimates that we are expecting, that area under paddy will be 30.72 lakh hectares. Paddy के नीचे जो एरिया होगा वो अराउंड मोर देन 30 लाख हेक्टेयर्स होगा, और जो wheat के एरिया होगा that will be around 35 lakh hectares. Easy to remember, 30, 35. And the gross cropped area, the concept which we discussed, it will be 79 lakh hectares. So 35 plus 35, 65. And so that is the reason gross cropped area is 79 lakh hectares. And the cropping intensity is 189%. Now, what is cropping intensity? If we divide the gross cropped area with the net sown area and then multiply by 100, then we get the cropping intensity. So, almost 89% of the area is we are sowing twice. In a way, we can like say. And if we want to discuss the production, then rice production in the same year is expected to be 133.11 lakh metric tons. 133, approximately 133 lakh metric tons, and wheat 176 lakh metric tons. And the pulses will be 1 0.14 lakh metric tons, and the total food grain production is expected to be 313 lakh metric tons approximately. So these are some of the figures. If you want to remember, you can. Now coming to the next slide, Punjab is ranked first among states in contribution of wheat and rice to the central pool. And the percentage wise, the percentage for rice and wheat respectively in the central pool contribution is 27.3% and 36.8%. This is a huge percentage. And yield rates per hectare kgs per hectare for wheat 4750 kgs per hectare and for rice 4386 per kg. This is again showing that we are actually using good variety of high yielding crops. And for because we are producing so much, so we need to store also. This is a very important part of agriculture infrastructure. In 2016 and 17, total storage capacity for food grains, which include covered as well as uncovered, that is open, was 233 lakh ton. For food grains, we could store in 16 and 17 233 lakh tons. So this is a important infrastructure, and we need to develop more because our food grain production is going to be 313 lakh metric tons. So we are having a backlog also, so we need to develop more such infrastructure. Coming to the next slide. Now coming to the irrigation. As we know that Punjab, we have number of canals and tube wells. So accordingly, the irrigation intensity is 189 in 2016 and 17. And gross area sown, 99.6%, that is almost 100% of the gross area sown is irrigated. Canals and tube wells are playing the major role. The most important role is being played by the tube wells. Recently, we have got more than 14 lakh tube wells in Punjab, which are irrigating about 3 million hectares of land. But this has brought the negative effects also because our groundwaters are depleting, and 70% of area constituting central Punjab faces groundwater depletion. In the lecture Waters of Punjab, we have also discussed this problem. So we need to do something on this front. Now coming to the next slide, consumption of fertilizers. Again, a major concern for agriculture sector that the consumption of fertilizers has remained very high, one of the highest in India. Per hectare wise, approximately 245 kgs of chemical fertilizers are being used. And if we want to look at the total numbers, then around 20 lakh nutrients ton of chemical fertilizers were consumed. So this is a huge number. This has brought many negative effects. Like people are saying that cancer, which is increasing in our area, is because of this. Our food chain is being contaminated because of these chemicals, and also the groundwater is getting contaminated. So we need to reduce the consumption of these chemicals, and we should shift to the organic fertilizers as far as possible. Now coming to the next slide. Now we have broadly discussed the agriculture proper sector, but we have seen that the growth rate in agriculture has remained very low. In 2017 and 18, we are expecting, this is about agriculture proper, this doesn't include allied sector, we are expecting it to be 2.88%, which is lesser than the previous growth rate. And this 2.88% too, the people say that this will be because of the increase in MSPs of wheat and rice. So why this growth rate rate has decreased, we can count few reasons. That already we have utilized the irrigation and cropping intensity potential. So there is no much scope to improve on this front. Minimum research and development is there. The institutes which need to do these things are either understaffed or lacking the skills or under invested. And the third is because farmers are getting assured returns on wheat and rice in the form of MSPs, so they don't want to move away from this, and because of this, this tendency of not taking risk is leading to the lower growth rates. Now coming to the next slide, which is allied sector. In this, we are going to study the allied sectors like animal husbandry, fishery, dairy, all these things we will discussing the allied sector in the allied sector of agriculture of Punjab. Coming to the next slide, horticulture, the first part of the allied sector. The vegetables and the fruits which are produced in Punjab are not sufficient for the consumption of the people of Punjab. So we need to do a lot on this front. The major vegetable produces potato and the major fruit produces quinoa. In 2016 and 17, around 0.80 lakh hectares of area was under fruit production and 1.3 lakh hectares was under vegetable production. Next, animal husbandry. Earlier we discussed that more than 25% of GSVA, Punjab state GSVA, comes from agriculture and allied sector, and out of this around 7.73% is coming alone from animal husbandry. This is a labor intensive sector, and if we promote this sector, then this will provide jobs to the unemployed youth and may help us a lot in this regard. Government has taken some actions like a cattle breeding farm has been established in village Roni of Patiala district. Similarly, new veterinary college is being established in the Rampura Full in district Bathinda. Also, the government is trying to implement all the schemes which are coming under centrally sponsored scheme program. The state government has also implemented animal husbandry extension and training program. Basically, this program was implemented uh, to 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 provide more jobs to the youth of Punjab, especially the unemployed educated youth of Punjab. Similarly, Gokul Mission has also been implemented and is being implemented, in which the conservation of indigenous breeds is the priority. Also, it must be mentioned that, as we discussed earlier, Punjab is the top producer in milk. Around 10% of milk of the country is coming from Punjab. Coming to the next slide, the dairy development. Dairy development, as we entered the previous slide, 295 lakh liters, around 300, just to remember, otherwise 295 lakh liters of milk is being produced in Punjab. So Punjab is at number 1. The state has a capacity to process 82.4 lakh liters milk daily. This is a good number. And Dairy Training and Extension Center was established at Sangrur earlier. Now the state has got, if we count that center, then the state has got the 9 centers as of now. The government is trying to promote the mechanization of dairy farming. The incentives are being provided under RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, for the purchase of fodder harvester and fodder cutter. right? If this, by this, the incentive is being, in a way, the incentive is being provided. For the direct marketing of milk, again, the incentive is being provided for requiring direct milk marketing unit. In this unit, milk tank is there, vehicle is there, bulk milk cooler is there, and the milk dispensing system is there. National Program for Dairy Development. Under this program, Milk-Fed Punjab is implementing the projects in various milk unions. In Bathinda, ice cream plant has been established. Similarly, milk powder plant at Jalandhar, and milk unions are being established in Sangrur and Hoshiarpur, and the proposals have been submitted to Government of India. Now coming to the other work which the government has undertaken, the government is trying to provide the imported sexed semen straws to the farmers at a subsidized rate so that the progeny may be better. So this was all about dairy development. Now coming to the next slide, fisheries. In fisheries, the three major things which we need to concentrate, as the government is also concentrating on these things. Area under fishery is being increased, fish seeds are being made available, and the fishery related training is being provided. This fish seed, these are the seeds, these are actually the fertilized eggs of the fish, and these are used to seed the new ponds. At the various levels, these seeds may be introduced, that is out of the scope of this discussion, but these are actually the fish seeds. Under RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, again, development of fish culture in non-waterlogged areas as well as in the waterlogged areas is being incentivized with the help of funds. Government fish seed farms under the first phase of RKVY scheme, these have been established in various areas, not very important, but you can actually look into the closest one to you. In the second phase, again, with this expenditure, PUDA is aiming to modernize and upgrade 7 government fish seed farms. These have been named here, like Berada in Sangrur. So you can look at these centers, but I feel that these will not be very important with regard to the examination. So moving to the next slide, uh, coming to the state government initiatives for the welfare of farmers. This topic we are planning to discuss in a separate lecture. So as of now we are skipping it, but in the next lecture you can see and we can discuss about the various state government initiatives. Also, we will be discussing what are the provisions which the government of the day have added or have taken in the recent budget. So now moving to the last discussion of this PPT, that is concerns for agriculture. In spite of all the efforts by the people and the government, some concerns are still left to be resolved. Most of the concerns we have already discussed, but some need to be discussed in the detail. So let's do the same. The first and the foremost is the overexploitation of groundwater. As we know, because of basic two reasons, one is the MSP for paddy and wheat, because of which, because these two crops need a lot of water, especially the rice paddy. The second is the subsidized power to the agriculture sector. So these two basic reasons are behind the overexploitation of the groundwater, because of which we are using a lot of tube wells, and as per the recent data, we are having more than 14 lakh tube wells in Punjab. As we have already discussed over more than 70% of the area of central Punjab has come to a danger zone with regard to the groundwater. Coming to the next concern, a big concern is the farmers' debt. In spite Punjab being the granary or the storehouse for the grains for whole of India, the plight of farmers have remained bleak. This is might be because of the many reasons. One is that farming has not remained that profitable because of the overconsumption of fertilizers, fragmentation of the fields, farms, and sometimes over expenditure by the farmer community. There have been a lot of farmer suicides. Although the data regarding farmer suicide is not with us, and we don't know whether the suicides are more in number in the farmer community in comparison to rest of the communities, but still we can see that the plight of farmer is bleak. So recently the government has started a new scheme, the debt waiver scheme, but these schemes will not do much unless we bring a structural reform to the farming community, especially the marketing field needs to be explored. Third is paddy straw management. As we know, normally farmers they burn the paddy straws, which is leading to the lot of pollution, environmental pollution, not only in Punjab but in northern India. Now the government is taking steps. There is already a law against such burning, but it is not being implemented. Government has set up a fund to bring innovation in the management technologies with regard to the paddy straws. It has it has done good in the last few years, and the burning has reduced, but still a lot need to be done in this field. The fourth is profitability of agriculture. We have already discussed. Agriculture needs to be profitable venture. So lot of innovation needs to be done. Scientific technologies need to be there. Government funding should be increased. Mechanization needs to be done. Fragmentation needs to be stopped. Forward and backward market linkages need to be developed. As MS Swaminathan rightly said, that lab to field. This approach is prerequisite for making the farming a profitable venture. Coming next to the fifth point, soil degradation. We all know, and last the crop diversification needs to be done. But because of certain political moves like MSP, we are not able to diversify the crop. But in the recent budget, we will discuss in the separate lecture that the government is trying to diversify the crops. So this is a welcome step, but still more needs to be done. With these concerns, we are ending our discussion. But before we end, we want to remember our martyrs. Shri Hemant Karkare, an IPS officer, laid his life during 26/11 attack while saving the lives of many. His bravery was honored with the Ashok Chakra. This is our initiative to remember all our martyrs in all the services from all the walks of people. So our salutes to Shri Hemant Karkare and his family. If you want us to cover any specific topic, then please let us know. We will love to discuss with you. Please comment, share. Also, if you are having any question, then please post us. Thank you. Thanks for watching.